What's up, my dude? Ski only COD. I appreciate that membership, buddy. Sorry it's taken me so long to give you that shout out in this video. It's been like a month since you joined up the memberships, but I'll be getting to all those shout outs. So big shout out to Only COD, the dude ski, the big dog. He joined up on the memberships. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's get to the video here, okay? Should you buy Supercross 5? I think we're all kind of in this weird little boat of how much can we really trust Milestone with the absolute flaming dog turd that MXGP 2021 ended up being. And that's really, I think, got a lot of people kind of on edge, kind of on the fence about Supercross 5. And then also, you know, with the couple little videos I made on Supercross 5's announcement trailer and everything, you know, big new things, right? We've now come to that realization that there really is nothing big, new, you know, feature to Supercross 5. There's not really anything new to the game from what I can see. I mean, you have all of their main, you know, quote-unquote new things on their website are two-strokes, which is something that you had in MXGP 3, okay? Something that you had in Supercross 4, but it was paid DLC. Oh, it's not new, guys, because it's not paid DLC in this one, okay? Yeah, we got it, dog. We got it. So apparently they're considering two-strokes as a new thing in Supercross 5. Split screen, you know, that thing you had back in Halo Combat Evolved, right? And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing to have split screen, but like to make it sound like it's this new feature to a game in 2021, no. That's something you just throw in there as like, you know, an expected feature in a game in 2021. It's like, yeah, split screen should be in every game out there, period. So either way, you know, two strokes, split screen, and then the new track editor rhythm section shit, which is actually really just a rhythm section saver. It's not really like a whole new way to make rhythm sections on the custom tracks in Supercross 5. So come to find out, when you actually dig into it, it's not big new things at all. It is not really any new features. It's basically just giving you features that you should have already had or you did already have in previous Milestone games, whether it was paid DLC or it was in the MXGP games or whatever. But nonetheless, you push all that new features bullshit to the side, and, you know, I think a lot of you guys are thinking, like, how's this game going to stack up to Supercross 4? Like, physics-wise and track design-wise, how's it going to stack up to, like, the first two Supercross games? And I don't know how it's going to be on that. I mean, I can tell you that the physics of the bikes and the whips and stuff like that is not going to be anything drastically different. You can just see it in that reveal trailer and even some of the stuff they've been posting on Instagram. You can just see it with the whips. It's still a very similar whip system to what you would have had in like Supercross 4, stuff like that, you know. You can just tell by the way the bike is moving. So I don't think you're going to see anything crazy different as far as physics, you know, feeling on the bike, stuff like that. I do think the graphics are going to be better, because that's what Milestone seems to have their main focus on right now. That is the definition of MXGP 2020 and 2021. They're just really good graphics. They're like an eye candy next-gen fucking motocross game, and that's all they really are at the end of the day. But with Supercross 5, I do think it's a better bet in buying I can tell you to be at least a little more confident with buying Supercross 5 than like MXGP 2021, for instance, because you can just see the trajectory of those MXGP games just going downhill and downhill and downhill, other than the graphics, right? I'm talking about downhill in content, downhill in you know, having more bugs and issues with the game, and just feeling like they overall don't put as much time and effort into these modern MXGP games as they do with the Supercross games, right? At least with the Supercross games, you have a different layout on every track, right? And with the MXGP games, you have the same layouts as those same motocross tracks you've been riding on forever, Okay, and of course, it is replica games. They're trying to replicate the real life tracks, but nonetheless, my point still stands. They're going to have a different layout and a different track on a, Atlanta Supercross in 2022 than they had in Atlanta Supercross in 21 or 2020 or 2019 or whatever. Those Supercross tracks change those layouts every single year. So regardless of what Milestone chooses to do with scaling, to some of you idiots that don't realize you can still be making replica tracks but have completely different track designs depending on the kind of scaling that you have, okay? That's a big problem with the MXGP games, even though they're making replica tracks, so they have to follow the strict guideline of, layouts and where the jumps are and stuff like that. They still have full, total custom control over the overall scaling of the track, right? So you can still have that same exact replica track, but just different sizes of everything, right? If you make the scaling bigger, that makes everything bigger. So it's still a replica track of that particular layout, but it's just bigger jumps, bigger lanes, bigger corners, wider track. Some people still have not come to that realization, apparently, that you can have replica tracks with different scaling, okay? It doesn't mean you're changing the layout of the track. It doesn't mean you're changing the actual track. You're just changing the scaling of it. You're changing how big or small it feels within that particular video game, okay? Gotta love how I have to come out here and explain this shit to people, but nonetheless, in the Supercross games, not only do you have a variation between that scaling, but then you also have different layouts of tracks because they obviously are replicating a whole different year of the Supercross tracks where they're gonna change those layouts. So even if they don't even fuck with the scaling at all, you're going to get more of a variation of track content in the Supercross games than you are in the MXGP games. Without a doubt, period. You got to remember what kind of game it is. You know what I mean? And that's where I think they get a little caught up in some of the games. But yeah, with Supercross 5 specifically, I mean, the graphics are going to be better. The physics and everything's going to be probably similar to Supercross 4. It'll be interesting to see what little tweaks they make to it to advance the physics system, because typically they're always at least somewhat different, even though a lot of times it's really just a combination of their two previous, like the previous Supercross game and the previous MXGP game. But yeah, it just always seems like there's more effort put into these modern Supercross games because they know more people are going to buy them. This is not like a big mystery, you know. I feel like the kind of extra track content that you got in Supercross 3, you know, with all of those different raceable, quote-unquote, training Supercross tracks that they had in that game. They literally had like 7 or 8 extra training Supercross tracks that felt completely different than any other standard Supercross tracks in the game. That was a big deal for content for the game. I really think they need to bring that back with Supercross 5. You need like bare minimum 10 extra different Supercross track content in the game that is not like the in-stadium Supercross tracks of the game. You know, you got to have that extra content to keep people invested. You got to have those awesome free ride compounds that really has all these different big jumps to hit and different ways to experience the game. That's what people want in these games. They want more content. They want more shit to ride on. They want more stuff to do in the game, like enduro content or enduro cross content. Can you imagine how badass that would be to have some enduro cross in an official Supercross game? Oh my gosh, bro. That would be sick. But, you know, of course, you got the milestone defenders that'll say, well, it's not an enduro cross game, Spencer. Oh, that's funny, because it's also not a free ride game either. It's also not a motocross game either, but yet we have free ride tracks and motocross tracks in these Supercross games. Oh, did I just completely kill your entire argument in 5 seconds? Oh, that's funny. Wow. Yes, they can have more content than just official Supercross tracks in an official Supercross game. You idiot, defending less content. I will never understand that. But nonetheless, you know, you're going to have your probably very similar run-of-the-mill Supercross career mode, all of that. You know, it's going to be similar in a lot of ways, and I really don't see any, you know, real new features to the game from what they've shown so far on their website and in the trailer and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a very similar game, but good God, hopefully they have advanced the terrain deformation. Of course, I highly doubt that because they didn't show any of that on their website. But nonetheless, I mean, you're going to have a certain amount more replayability with the next Supercross game than you would have in like MXGP 2021, period, without a doubt. It'll be interesting to see how much of that pre-made roughness design and rut design that they carry over to Supercross 5. I don't know how much of that they're going to do. You know, these milestone games are kind of getting into that little bit of a pickle with how much pre-made versus how much the terrain deformation actually physically affects the track. They're kind of getting caught up in that. I don't know. From the looks of it, it doesn't look like Supercross 5 is going to be this, you know, next level terrain deformation or probably not even to the physical level that it was in MXGP 3. I mean, it would genuinely shock me if Supercross 5 even just had the physical level of the terrain deformation of MXGP 3, which MXGP 2021 still doesn't have. MXGP 2020 didn't hardly even have visual terrain deformation. So, you know, it's one of those things where I feel like you're going to get more out of it in Supercross 5 just because it seems like they put more effort into those games. Like I say, the track layouts are going to be different, so it's going to feel like you're at least riding on some sort of different kind of tracks in the new game versus feeling like this almost picture-perfect, exact copy and pasted track design, you know? It's going to create a little more of that replayability in that sense, and depending on what they do with that extra track content of the game, that's going to make or break it, you know, in a certain sense. But depending on how good they do that, I do think it's like I'm kind of right down the middle when it comes to should you buy Supercross 5. I can't really recommend it, and I can't super, like, recommend for you not to buy it. It's kind of, I'm somewhere right there on the fence with it, you know. I've not seen enough new features to just totally recommend it, but at the same time, you know, if you took Supercross 4 and gave it better graphics, updated track content, changed the physics a little bit, it could be an okay, you know, motocross or, you know, motocross Supercross game at that point. It could potentially be that. I know you're not going to have a lot of new features or anything like that, and this update to the track editor, you know, all this rhythm section update bullshit, it's just a rhythm section saver. That's all it is. So that's not really, I don't think you're going to see anything groundbreaking with track editor updates, unfortunately. So, you know, I mean, I think it's one of them things, if you're on the fence about it, you should definitely wait until people like me that actually speak the truth about it come out here and review it once the game comes out, and then make your decision on whether or not you want to buy it. I can't just come out and say don't buy it like I did with MXGP 2021. I could see what that game was going to be like from a mile away. I already knew what it was going to be like, you know. But when it comes to Supercross 5, I can't necessarily... I mean, it's going to be similar for sure, but I wouldn't just go out and pre-order it. I wouldn't just do anything like that. I would wait until some of these not neutral boy YouTubers review it, but people like me that actually give a real honest, no sugar-coated opinion about it, okay? I would wait till people like that review it and then make your decision about it then, and then kind of go from there, you know what I mean? But yeah, either way. That's how I feel about should you buy Supercross 5. It could turn into a fun game to play for a couple of months, you know? It could definitely end up being that sort of level, but and I think with how shitty MXGP 2021 was, with all the bugs and all the issues and the tight repetitive track designs and everything, the lack of content, you know, fucked up whips, everything like that, I think that just that game being so bad is going to automatically make Supercross 5 seem better, you know? So you got to be a little careful with that because that'll definitely change some opinions and stuff like that on it. But I just think overall, with the way Milestone's been doing everything, it just seems like all of their real effort is being put into their Supercross games, and that's what most people buy at this point. I guarantee you they sell at least double or triple the amount of copies of their Supercross games than they do their newer MXGP games. I would almost guarantee that. So it's not a surprise as to why they would, polish their Supercross games more, get them more finished before they come out, stuff like that. It just feels like especially with MXGP 2021, they've not even put any patch notes out for the first update or anything yet. It's just like, what are they doing? Is anybody awake over there at Milestone with MXGP 2021? I mean, is anybody home? Have you boys already took your Christmas vacation? I don't know. But, it's getting pretty rough over there with the MXGP series. But either way, Supercross 5 is one of those things. I mean, I would wait until somebody like me reviews it and kind of shows you all of that extra content in the game and kind of the differences with the physics and the overall track scaling and skill gap and all replayability, fun factor. You got to wait to see all that kind of stuff before you really make that final decision on if it's worth $60 AAA money, okay? We're not talking about no half-priced game here. We're talking about full AAA price games. So, it's not everybody's just got money to burn, you know what I'm saying? Oh, no, money to blow. Well, not everybody's got that, you know what I mean? And I certainly don't have that. So, that's why I'm trying to do my due diligence. Let me see if I can speak English here. Trying to do my duty out here to let you guys know how these games are before they come out and not be in this stuck-up, fanboy, neutral boy, everything's all positive, fine, and dandy, no matter what Milestone does. Seems like a lot of these other YouTubers got real caught up in that. I've never gotten caught up in that, so nonetheless, we'll be back on that next one. Appreciate you guys watching. Later, dudes.